Hello, welcome. Today we are doing another VOD review from leaguecoaching.gg, and we're gonna be looking at wan't, who is a silver AD carry main who's gonna be playing Varus today. And he has some questions regarding his laning phase, how to transition his lane lead to the other lanes, and also how to do team fights. So these are the 3 points that I'm going to be looking at primarily today. I'm also going to be taking a lot of time to look at your laning phase, because that is usually what most people need to get better at in order to climb out of the lower elo. So I'm going to take a lot of time to do that. This game is actually, there's a lot of things that is going to happen. So let's see here. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna slow this down, so you're gonna go for a level 1 fight with Alistar. I actually like this a lot, and I think that if you're duo queue with Alistar, I don't know if, but if you are, keep doing this strategy. It's gonna win you a lot of lanes and a lot of games. But I have one thing that I want to point out. The first thing is that I think it's good that you don't skill anything. But when they come here, you skill Q. I think you should skill E, because if you look at how the fight plays out, you get the Q onto the Jhin, which is good. And then you do the Q at the end. But imagine if you had taken E right there. If you had the E instead of the Q, you could have gotten a couple of autos extra off, or you make him burn flash if you're able to slow him down. The Q doesn't really do anything in terms of damage. The E might even be better, just because you get more autos off, and you're probably gonna burn his flash. So that is one small thing that I have to point out. If you're gonna do this, take E next time. This is something that I've found really weird, because if you look at how the Taurik moves, let's speed this up. Now look at how the Taurik moves. You're zoning him from the minions, but he's standing really far up, and then he starts moving towards you. And all you can think of is getting that CS. Right there, just bait the Taurik forward and be ready for the E, because his intentions are really obvious. So this should be a really easy dodge, and once you dodge his E, you can easily turn on him and get a lot of damage off. You still do an okay job, but the Alistar takes a heavy beating. So yeah, once again, I think his intentions are really obvious. So okay, so here you're pushing for that level 2, which is really good. And here you respect that the Taurik is level 2 and that Jhin has his 4th shot. That is good. Right here, I don't know why you respect them so much. You should be looking at your XP bar and go, okay, we are about to hit level 2, we are really close to level 2. After this minion we can go all in, because every time that you hit level 2 before the opponents, you should always go all in. Especially when Jhin has W and he doesn't have his 4th shot up. Right here you should not be standing over here, you should be standing like beyond your other minions, because there's no jungler coming to gank you, because it's our bottom side. You already know that. And you can easily, maybe not go for a kill, but you will easily burn summoners from the Jhin if you're just being more aggressive. Jhin is probably gonna hit level 2 pretty soon. And you see, because you respect them so much, they get an easy trade, and they shouldn't get this trade. You should be the aggressors in this situation. You do get decent poke off, but because he has more potions, they're probably gonna win lane from this if they play it correctly. Yeah, Jhin should just pop his last potion and zone you guys out. They should just freeze this, and you will lose the lane essentially. But they're not gonna do it, they are actually just gonna push in the wave. So I'd say that you're pretty lucky here. Okay, good. That was good by the Alistar, by the way. Recognize that he has his Guardian up and blocks the shot for you. We're gonna speed this up a little bit. And you farm under the tower. You see that they ward, so you should ping that out and tell the jungler where do you think it is warded. And judging by the time they were gone, it's probably right in this river bush. And you should ping the jungler. There's a smart ping for that, so use that and tell the jungler that there's a ward. This engage, by the way, is pretty interesting, because I think you could have played this a lot better. I think Alistar is doing the correct thing here and going aggressive, but you should see that, okay, my Alistar is going aggressive, you should be walking up, right? You should, because look at how you play it. You're standing and last hitting, and you charge up your Q. Right there you don't want to charge up your Q, because it's gonna deal like no damage anyways, because of Taric heals and Taric shields. Right there you should walk up and try to put your CC onto the Jhin, which Alistar is engaging on, and your CC is your slow, your E. So just imagine if you were up here, instead of here, and just using your E to slow down the Jhin. You don't have to go super hardcore all in onto him, since you do have the Taric in your face, but just being able to put down that slow allows Alistar to get more damage in, and you can possibly outplay the Taric by dodging his E, and if he misses his E, you have a free kill onto the Jhin, essentially. So right here, imagine if you stand up here instead, put down the E, you see the Taric stun come out, you dodge up and dodge the E, and then you have a kill onto Jhin. Okay, we're gonna, and sorry, tongue twister. The Warwick comes in from the side. It doesn't really do anything, and they still have their summoners up. I think you could have gotten a lot more from that engage from the Alistar, just by being a little bit further up in the lane. Don't be afraid. Yes, you're squishy, you're the AD carry, but there's no jungler coming to gank you, so you should be a little bit more upfront. Okay. Here, you respect the jungler. I like this a lot, because around when you're level 3 or 4, around like after the 4-minute mark, the jungler typically likes to go bot lane to farm if they start on the bottom side. So it's good that you respect the jungler. Good wards. And here you should freeze the lane, which I believe you do. Yeah, you do. This is good. I do think the Alistar can be more up. At the same time, you don't know where the jungler is, so playing safe is completely fine. His red is about to spawn. You have no info on the jungler, so just chilling. It's completely fine. Here, the enemy does a pretty bad back, and I like what you do here. You try to push up the lane to deny them CS. This is really good. Keep doing this. It's gonna win, like it's gonna give you automatically a CS lead. Or you're gonna gain more CS than the opponent is, essentially. Because they lose a lot of CS from that. Okay. Right now you should see the fight happening, you help him, good. What happened? How did the Warwick die? I didn't pay attention for a moment. How did this happen? Okay, so Warwick is here. He goes for ward. Slowed. Oh, he has ignite and smite. Yeah, honestly, there's not enough, like a lot to do there. That was just a very bad play from him. I was thinking if they like tried to invade him and you had vision on them, but I don't know. I don't understand why the Warwick has ignite and smite and not flash. Okay. This play, by the way, this play is very interesting. I like this play, but I think you could have done it... I don't know. I just really like this play, because I think you played really smart. So you ward up, and what Alistar is doing, he you're trying to bait them to go all in onto you, and Alistar's just standing there. And they walk a little bit too far up. And you see that you get a very easy kill. Now, what I would typically say about this play is that the Alistar and you should have been far up the lane no matter what, because you're level 6, they have no ults, so you could just abuse that and you will win the fight no matter what. But the play that you make is still very good, because you have the Alistar, so... I just think it's a very good and smart play, so I can't really say no to it, but let's say that you didn't have the Alistar, you had someone else, like maybe a Leona or something. You wanna play far up the lane because you have the ults, and you have the ult and they don't have the ult. So I like that. This is where I think, so up to this I think it has been pretty minor mistakes. There's been some good plays, there's been some bad plays, but nothing that is really affecting your game too much. I think you have really good farm. It can be better, of course, but it can always be better. But this play, what you're deciding to do now for the next like 2 or 3 minutes is, I think it's gonna decide your lane quite a lot and decide the outcome of the game. What you do here is you auto-push the lane. You just you push the lane constantly, which you shouldn't be doing here, because one, you have the summoner advantage. You have flash on the Alistar, you have heal, and you have flash, while they have no summoners up on the Jhin. You should know this by timing the summoner spells and have an approximation of when they should be up for the enemy team. Second, you have the XP lead. You're level 7 to the Jhin's level 5. He should be hitting level 6 pretty soon. And the Tark is level 6 now, of course, but what you should be doing is you should just freeze the wave, because you have the advantage. And what you're doing is you're auto-pushing the lane, and it doesn't give you any sort of lead. What you're doing is you're creating a stalemate, essentially. You're just saying that, okay, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with being essentially even in lane. I don't really wanna go for anything. When you should, in reality, you should be freezing the lane because you're so far ahead of the Jhin. One thing to point out, Varus is better than Jhin in the late game, but it's not by a huge margin. It's not like you're playing Kog'Maw versus Jhin, where Kog'Maw just completely outscales every single AD carry in the game and becomes a monster in the late game. Varus is still better than Jhin, but not by so much. So right here you should not be pushing, you should just be freezing, deny CS, and if they walk too far up, you just all in the Jhin and he's dead. Because, I don't know the CD, how far is left on your ults? Let's say maybe 20, 15 seconds maybe or something like that. And then just let the Alistar go all in. See if Taric blows his ult. If it doesn't, you blow your ult and you just go for an all in. You could gain such a huge lead from just doing that, but instead you opt for just like auto pushing the lane. Your goal right now, if you just tab, you see that the Alawi is losing lane really hard. So your goal should be to get the Alawi out of her lane and swap with her, like swap lanes, and get the tower. Here we get a good dragon. Nothing to point out, but yes, the only time you want to push when you're ahead is when you want to go for the tower. And with Taric, with his relic shield, and versus a Jhin, they have really good wave clears. It's really hard to get the tower. So what you have to do is you have to freeze the wave. To get either a lead or get a kill onto the Jhin. But you're not really doing that, you're just letting him get the farm. And yes, he does lose some farm under the tower, but it's not enough to gain a big enough lead to kinda escalate into the late game. So I don't like that you're out pushing the lane. You should just be playing, just freezing the wave, essentially. Make them cry. As you see, you're just pushing, he's getting farm, you're getting farm, but you're not pushing your lead, and now Jhin has his summoners back, so now you're pretty much on even footing. You see the Trundle? He should not be that far up. He backs up into his own jungle, that's fine. Yeah, but your advantage is essentially gone right now. You still have the XP advantage, but you're not really abusing that, which you should be doing. Farm, farm, farm. And you recoil for items. If we just pause right now and see at the CS differentials, you have 17 more CS than he does. And I think that when you came back into the lane after the kills, I think you had like 7 or something, so you got a 10 CS lead just from pushing the wave. Right. You get 10 a 10 bigger CS differential, when in reality right now you could have like 1 or 2 more kills, you could have had like 30 more CS than your opponent has, just by freezing the wave and making them step up a little bit too far in the lane and getting free kills essentially. Okay, so right here I think that you do overextend a little bit. So the Trundle is dead. So you know there's no jungler coming, so essentially it is you only have to keep track of the Jhin and the Taric. And you do a pretty good ward. And here you see them. You see both of them, so you know they're both in your lane. They know that you're alone, and you know that you're alone. But you greed for the farm. And you have to burn a summoner, which is really bad. And you almost die here. If Jhin would have hit like all of his ult shots, which he's gonna do his ult pretty soon, you would have probably died. Here you should have just dropped the farm, wait for Aerosol to come back, and you can go for the fight again. Now they have the HP lead, and they also got the flash from you. So right now you can't really fight, even though you have more items than he does. Not really, he does actually have the Infinite Edge. Okay, and you follow the Trundle. Yeah. Okay, so that was really good. Okay. Let's go back to the play real quick. You see the Trundle, and you follow immediately. This is really good by you. The lane is frozen anyway, so... And the Trundle is so squishy right there, so this is a really good pickup. And you try to follow. And you get pretty much a free kill onto the Taric. This is really good. Yeah. You get the dragon, that's really good. Yeah, you can dive him. You should tell your support to go dive him in that situation, because the Taric is not there yet, so just tell him to go dive him. Yeah, you wanna just stay bot lane until you can get the tower. I mean, you have had a lead essentially the entire laning phase. Like after 8 minutes or 9 minutes or something like that, you have had the advantage ever since then. And the tower is still up. That is something that you need to think about. Like, how can you get the tower more effectively? And you could have gotten that just by freezing the lane and getting more kills, essentially. The Alawi does a good roam. You get the tower. It's good. And you get another good pickup onto the Trundle. So now we come into the mid game essentially. We're going to be talking about how to transition your lead to other lanes, and I've kind of talked about that a little bit already. What you wanted to do was because you were winning lane. Well, first of all, you could have won the lane much harder, and if you would have done that, you would have gotten the tower a lot quicker, and that would have allowed you to swap with the Alawi, who struggled in lane like really hard. If you just did a swap with Alawi, you can get more towers and just accelerate your lead. And if you could have gotten the towers early, you could have gone for an much more early Rift Herald, and once again just keep accelerating your lead, because they might get your bottom tower, but you don't really care, because while they get one tower, you're gonna get top tower, you're gonna get Herald, and from Herald you're gonna get another tower, right? So essentially, it's gonna sound dumb, but essentially just by freezing your lane, you would have gotten 3 towers, right? From the Herald, of course. And that is if that is like the best case scenario, obviously. And that is just how you do it in theory. I don't know what the Orianna did there, but hey. And here, you reset it, or sorry, you recalled so late. So what they did instead, you got a kill, sure, and you got a kill on Trundle, sure, but they were able to retaliate by getting the tower bottom lane. And towers are always better than kills. Remember that, towers are always better than kills. It's not just gold, it's also vision, and it's also a safe place for laners, essentially. It's the mecca for laners. And you're gonna be pushing up the lane, that's fine. And they're fighting. Now you need to ask, what is your goal? What is your goal as AD carry? Is it to fight? Is it to get more towers? And if you look at the map, they have 2 towers that are really low. You should try to coordinate with your team and just tell them like, okay, let's just go top, for instance, or let's just go bot. Or let's just go mid. And try to go for more towers. A very bad habit that I see in Silver is that they try to look for kills and kills only. But what you should be doing here in reality is to look for towers. As you can see, they die 1 for free when you have 2 towers that are very free. That's a good 1v1. I mean, she can't win versus you. You have 4. You have actually pretty similar amount of gold, but she didn't have the death cap finished there, so it was a pretty easy 1v1. And you have the wit's end, so she can't really 1v1 you in that situation. And right now you're going mid. That's a good call because the dragon's about to spawn. The Warwick gets picked up for some reason. And you run away. Ah. So now we get into the game's very first team fight, and you get absolutely blown up. And you might be sitting there and asking yourself, wait, how could I position myself better right there? What could I have done to actually kind of carry that fight? Because you are fed. But I want to show you. And it's actually a pretty easy thing that you can do. The Warwick is dead. You already have 3 dragons, they get 1 Mountain Drake. You should just drop this and go push mid, try to get the tower. If you can't get the tower, you go top and try to get that tower instead. But you do not take a team fight when you are 4v5. Even though you are strong, and and the allies are strong, and the R is strong, obviously. The allow is still very weak, and they have an Urgot that is really strong. Plus, they have one more member, and the allow is not even in position. Just drop the dragon, because the dragon falls, so there is no objective to even fight for in this situation. So the fight, like this fight shouldn't even be happening. The only thing that I can really point out is that you walk forward here. You see how you walk forward? If you would have backed off, you could have maybe survived. That is the only thing I can really point out, but you're just 4v5. And it's just a really bad fight. Okay, you go bot, catch the wave, that's fine. Now you should group with your team, they are on Baron. They are low. I think we get into the next team fight here. And now you need to look at how the situation is. I think this is a pretty good scenario for your team though, because they have a low support and a low AD carry. And the only one who's low in your team is the Alawi. Yeah, you can get the tower. Very easy pickup. And here comes another team fight. And once again, this is a fight that should not even be happening, because the Warwick backs off. I think the Alawi is about to go back, and the Orianna steps up, and the Alistar steps up, and you also steps up, because you guys are thinking, okay, let's just go for the tower. But you should only be fighting when you're 5, or you have a numbers advantage. Right here, you don't really have the numbers advantage, and what just ends up happening is you try to go for a fight. Essentially, this is a 3v4 fight, and you get the Orianna, but because they are one more member, and a member that is very fed, by the way, and has itemized against you, you're not gonna win the fight. And Warwick goes in, or God knows why. And they go for Baron, which is the correct call. They get the Baron. Now we're gonna say I haven't watched the replay up until now, and I forgot to swap this. Boom. We're talking about team fights now, and we have done that for like a couple of minutes. I'm gonna have to rewatch that, because I think you do the same mistake again. So you guys are thinking, alright, the Urgot is alone. The Urgot is alone, but you have no vision in the top jungle, you have no vision in the bottom jungle. The only 3 members that you can see from the enemy team is the Jhin, it's the Urgot, and it's the Trundle, I think. Can't really see. But you don't know where the Orianna is, and she's pretty fed. She's gonna one-shot you if you just look at her items. And it's the Taric who's gonna be able to keep Urgot and Orianna alive. And you have... And I mean... You need to realize here that they can one-shot you. The Urgot is so fed, you can't kill him. He's so tanky, he does so much damage, and the Orianna is gonna one-shot you. You should only be fighting when you have the members and you have the information to do so. And she shows up. She gets a really good ultimate off. But yeah, she one-shots the Ahri and she puts you to half HP. And because you can't kill the Urgot who is in your face, you're just gonna die. Let's see if we can get a fight where you don't initiate 4v5. I think they're ending the game here. Okay, so they overextend. I don't really have much to point out here. I just think that they overextend too much. Yeah. Auric is a good charm. Yeah. Here, you do not want to Q, because your Q deals no damage with that build. Like charging your Q here is like, it's like a fart in the wind essentially. It's not gonna do shit, right? You should just keep walking forward and chasing them. And because you're charging the Q, you do not have the time to dodge the Orianna ultimate. If you would have not charged the Q right there, you could have like walked a little bit to the right here and completely dodged it, and you could have kept chasing. Instead, you get hit by the ultimate, and it kind of slows you down. I think that is like the only thing. Remember that Varus Q with that build deals no damage at all. And here you're way too afraid. Way too afraid. Look at this. He's alone. And I mean, you have Ahri and you have Alistar on him. I mean, you don't have to kill these minions. They're not gonna kill the tower. You should be up here right now, trying to kill the Urgot. He's gonna fall no matter what, but I mean, Ahri should not have had to burn her flash because of that. Should have been so much more clean. If you would have just been a little bit more aggressive, like realize that you can stand a bit further up. They are dead, you try to go for towers. It's a bit greedy, yeah. I mean, this is a tough call because I do think if I would have been in this situation, I definitely would have greeted for the tower. He clears, but what you do is you try to path down. And versus the trouble, you can't really do that. You should have pathed towards the Alistar instead. It's a small mistake. I think overall you should have just left the tower and get it at a later point. Instead you die, you give free Infernal, and they can probably push for a win. Let's see, okay, a fight is happening. This is good. This is a good fight, because the Jhin is not there. Their AD carry is not there. And your Warwick, who is pretty much worthless anyways. I mean, he's built Bloodthirster and the jungle item, so he's gonna be worthless. Right? So this should be a good fight. We're gonna be looking at this in slow-mo. The Lowy dies. What happened there? How did you get stunned? I don't know how. You're too afraid. You should be starting the fight. Let's see, you're coming. Now you're here. You should not be standing here. You should be standing further up. They come towards you. You try to go for the Q. And you do some weird pathing. Because when the allow it dies, that is a red flag. That is when you need to tell yourself, we need to retreat, we need to back off a little bit. You should not be trying to take this fight, you should just keep running backwards. Instead you try to line up for the Q somehow, and it just ends you getting stunned and probably killed. Oh, she missed ult. Now the tower cult is up. You should not be auto-pathing, you should just try to run for your life. And you die, and that's game, I think. Yep, that's game. Okay. Let's go over the a couple of points that I think that you should be thinking about. The first one is in the laning phase. Around, I think it was 8 minutes or something. Let's see here. I think it's here. No, we haven't got any kills yet. I think you get the... Yeah, here, okay. In this scenario, you should always freeze the lane, because you're so far ahead. You're ahead in... let's skip forward a little bit more, because it's actually a bit later. Here you should be freezing the lane. You should deny the Jhin XP. You should be denying him farm. You should, any few steps too close, the allies should just engage. And if you're able to get the kills, you get the tower, and you can swap with the Lau, who is clearly struggling in his lane. So yeah, I think you play this part wrong. As you can see, you're just over pushing the lane and giving the Jhin free farm, which you shouldn't be getting because you're so far ahead. So that is bad. That is something that I want you to think about. And the second thing that I want you to remember is to keep focusing towers. Let's see, I think it's after you get your first tower. So after this, yeah. Like, they have 2 towers that are really low. You need to coordinate with your teammates and tell them, let's get the top tower. So I will go top, Ella will go bot and try to defend, while me and Alistar plus the jungler maybe goes top and try to get the tower. And by doing so, you also deny the Urgot some farm, because he can't 2v1 yet, right? That's the other part I want to think about. What more? There was one more. Oh yeah, the team fights. You asked me to look at your positioning in team fights, but honestly, there's no team fight that I can truly say you should have done this better, because none of the team fights were good. They were team fights that you should have not been taking in the first place. You should have just backed off completely. The one that I think most about is the dragon fight, because the dragon was already dead and you try to initiate a fight 4v5 and you just end up losing it. So I think that was bad. And then there were some couple of other fights where you stepped too far up and the fight essentially turned into like a 4v3 or a 3v5, etc, etc. So that is another point that I want you to think about. If you have any questions, you can comment them in the YouTube section or the comment section on YouTube, or you can send me a message on League Coaching. That should be ERB Heinous. Otherwise, I don't think there's anything else that I want to point out to this. Hopefully you have learned something from the VOD review. And please feel free to do send another replay so we can do another VOD review. We would much appreciate that. And I would like to thank you very much for listening to this VOD review. Thank you.